Welcome back, and today we are ripping up the UCI rule book. We're not literally ripping it up, we're figuratively ripping it up, and I reckon you'll like this one. Also, I hope that book's okay. I'm kind of reading it at the moment. Alright, here we are at the Sydney International Regatta Centre, and we are answering the age-old question, what difference do disc wheels actually make? Alright, so it's actually come out to be a bit of a day for it. However, it has been raining for most of today, as you can see with the condition of the bike. However, what we're aiming to do is test both wheel sets at 250 watts, check the time, and then at 300 watts, if I'm able in current fitness to hold 300 watts, and then compare the times. Now, unfortunately, my local crit track has undergone some flood damage, so the track is going to be slightly different, and it's going to have to be an out and back instead of a circuit. So I've picked a spot where it's safe to turn around. I'm going to stop at a barricade that you will see on the right hand side of the camera as I go into this turnaround. I'm going to stop pedaling, let the power off each time at that same spot, just try and keep some level of consistency. But yeah, what we're going for at the end is an average power of 250 on the first lap, 300 on the second lap, and then just comparing what the difference is in regards to overall time to see whether having a disc wheel on a road bike would actually make any difference, or is it just a load of wang. Alright, so it's been a wet day in Sydney today. However, it is coming out absolutely glorious as we walk the track here, and we're coming up to the start line. So we are going to start and finish at this crack. I'm going to start the data, end the data when I cross this line. I'm going to be heading west first towards the Blue Mountains before I come over a bridge and past the regatta track, what's it called, stadium for the Sydney Olympics. We're then going to head in an easterly direction down over another bridge towards the end of this track where there is a convenient point to turn around, and then send it back in a westerly direction, ending again at this crack. Now, I'm going to do 250 watt test, standing start, 300 watt test, standing start, swap the wheel over to the disc wheel, and then do the same test again. We're going to see how we go. The track is a little bit wet, and I am expecting it to dry up over time. However, I have not brought my wet tires. We're not going to be doing any pit stops here, so we're just going to get some data and see how we go. In all seriousness though, we are running different tires for this test. It would be a massive coincidence if Carbon Mafia has the same Pirelli race tires that I do, so obviously factor that in. There will be some variations in here which we'll discuss a bit later. Never ridden a disc wheel set, I've never owned a disc wheel set, I've never really had the need for one, and so this video comes from general interest. I'm hooking up with a company called Carbon Mafia. Fenny is the contact, and he's coming out to lend me a disc wheel set from their company on the way back from the Port Mac Ironman that he's been up on the weekend. So he's gone a little bit out of his way, and I genuinely appreciate it, but it's all in the name of science. Just looking to see what is the actual difference if you chuck the UCI rulebook out the window between 40mm Legend wheels running DT Swiss 240 hubs and a full disc Carbon Mafia wheel set. East running DT Swiss 240s, same as my Legends. Vittoria Corsa Graphene 2.0 tyres with 25s, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, 25. So I'm running 28s, just for comparison's sake.
And a tube.
And a tube, yeah. What kind of tube? Just a
normal rubber tube.
Normal rubber tube. There you go. Yeah, wheel set. Now there is no kickback here for me, at least not that I'm aware of. I might get a sticker, but you know, this is just genuine interest. I've got no affiliation with Carbon Mafia, but yeah, I think this is just in the name of fun, this one. So let's rip in. Okay, so I've done 250 and 300 on the Legend wheels, and basically time comes at 10 minutes and 14 seconds for 250 watts, 252 watts, and 9 minutes and 30 seconds for 302 watts from memory. So roughly 45 seconds is the difference, adding the 50 watts on there. So time to slap the disc wheel on, see what the difference is here. If you want to chuck your predictions in though, whack them in the comments. What do you actually think the difference is going to be at 250 and 300 watts? Is it going to be significant? Is it going to be significant enough to make this a bit of a game changer, or is it a bit of a waste of time? Anyway, let's find. Alright, so the goal of this test is to gauge what the difference is if I slap a disc wheel set onto my road bike. Will it turn me into a Remco Evenepoel, or is it just going to turn me into an idiot with a disc wheel on my rear? So anyway, let's talk about some equipment, because there were some issues with the method of the test. Tyres are different. I'm running Pirelli P0 Race TLR tyres. These 28s, they're running tubeless, and I've got these on the front 60 and on the rear 65. Front doesn't matter for this because front is the same for both tests. The Carbon Mafia disc wheel set is running Vittoria Corsa Pros. These are 25s, they're tubed, and these are running standard rubber tubes at 80 PSI. Both wheel sets, however, running a DT Swiss 240 hub, so no issues in regards to sort of different tech in that element. So equipment out of the way, let's talk the weather. It's a bit of a rainy day, absolutely miserable. Cats and dogs, some might say, but we did get a beautiful window testing the Legend wheel set where the sun was shining and it was glorious. Angels and choirs and all that kind of stuff. However, there were some angry boys that came over as we started putting the disc wheel set on, and they did rain on our parade when we were testing the Carbon Mafia disc. There was some slight rain. I don't think it made that much of a difference, but you'll see it on the video. You can make of it what you will. Wind was 9 kilometers southwesterly when we did the Legend wheel set, and 11 kilometers per hour southerly when we did the Carbon Mafia wheel set. It's an east-west track, so that's blowing across the track, and again, negligible difference. It's a small change in wind speed and a slight change in wind direction. I don't think it made that much of a difference, but again, transparency, and that's the screenshot, by the way, for that wind direction and speed. Anyway, with that out of the way, let's get back to the fun stuff, riding bikes. So we're not here to fuck spiders. Let's rip into some results and let's close this off. So the first, let's just recap. 252 watts for the first test on the Legend wheels. That was 35.3 average speed and a time of 10 minutes and 14 seconds. So I got a little bit excited on the second one too. 300 watt test for the Legend wheels. I went at 303 watts. Average, and that is an average speed of 37.9 kilometers for a time of 9 minutes 30.1. And again, we're on a 6 kilometer or 6.1 kilometer, 6.01, sorry, kilometer track. So the disc wheel, what's the difference? Well, I averaged for the disc, got a little bit excited again, and 305 watt average. A little bit naughty for a 37.8 kilometer an hour average speed. And if you've been paying attention, there's a difference there. And the time is 9 minutes 3.4 for a 3.3 second difference, meaning the disc wheel at 300 watts is slower. In case you thought this was an anomaly, 257 watts for the 250 watt test on the disc wheel. I actually wanted to get the result here, and I thought I was going to, but 35.1 kilometers an hour average speed, that's 0.2 kilometers slower for 10 minutes and 15 seconds, 1 second slower. Disc wheel on the road bike was slower than a 40mm rim profile. Go figure. Is this tubeless? Is it tires? Is this literally putting a disc on the back of your bike makes as much of a difference as going tubeless or running different tires? Is it tire pressure? Was Fenny right and I should have been running 90, 95? The track's pretty smooth here. Maybe he is. I don't know. But I genuinely thought the disc would be like riding EPO, man. And look, it feels it. I would say if I didn't have the Garmin, I would tell you every single time the disc was faster. It feels so much quicker. The sound, it feels like your bike is pushing you forward when you put a disc wheel on there. There is a noticeable difference to the ride feel, but that doesn't translate into increased speed. And I have no idea why, because everything says that it should. Anyway, I reckon this deserves a like. I reckon if you have opinions, put them in the comments. And I reckon you should jump over and you should give Carbon Mafia a like on Instagram, because Fenny did me a huge solid coming out, lending me this wheel for this test. This was so much fun. I had the absolute best time. Data is in the description, so if you want to pick apart my Garmin file, feel free to go and do so. It's all there available for you. Strava as well. If you want to follow me, feel free. And if you want to subscribe, I wouldn't hate you for doing it. It gives me the opportunity to sway people to let me do more of this stuff, and this stuff is super fun. So anyway, that is it for the video for today. I hope you had as good a time as I did. You probably didn't, but you probably had some fun. And yeah, peace out. Thank you very much.